This is Joshua Hart here for Seconds Out. We're in Barnsley, joined by Mr. Ben Shalom. Ben, we've just had the big launch party for Billam-Smith versus Zach Chelly. What an atmosphere out there!
It's incredible. I didn't expect this amount. We arranged this a couple of days ago. We said to fans, come down, we're going to be doing the fight announcement. We could have filled this 2 or 3 times over. The support, the passion for Callum Simpson at this stage of his career, I've not seen before. And so, yeah, it's very special to be here. I think Callum's a bit overwhelmed. You know, the level of interest from the football club and even the council and everyone is so proud to have an event come into their hometown, to their football club, with someone that they've been following for a long, long time. It's a pleasure actually to be in Barnsley today and see all this.
It seems, I've seen a few people say, you're starting to love these football stadiums. You could be the first the first boxing promoter to complete the 92. What is it about these stadium shows that just seems to bring you back? Because that's going to be 2 back-to-back stadium shows for you now.
I dreamed of being a footballer, and I never quite made it. No, in all seriousness, I think obviously we want to build stars. We want to build British boxing stars, and we want to build them around the country. And we've tried to go to all different places. And for me, the biggest success stories are when you can get the football club behind them. And we've seen it where someone's ticket sales will go from a couple thousand to 10,000 to 15 to 20. And he's so passionate about this place. And I think even with Chris Billam-Smith and obviously Richard, it really helps build a star. And I think when you can get the football right, it really works in this country. It's tribal, and everyone gets behind it. And yeah, it's going to be an amazing night on August the 3rd. Over half of the tickets were sold today. We've not even gone out on sale yet. That was just to season ticket holders. It's heading for a sellout. We can't get another stand open because it's a week before the season starts, but all 7,000 will be sold there, and to do that on your first homecoming, your first fight in Barnsley is incredible. He's got a very tough fight, and I said to him, don't get overawed by this, because it might feel great and the party atmosphere's there and everyone's here to support you, but ultimately he's in there with someone that's been here and done it. This is his first big test. He's in there with Zach Chelly, who's coming in maybe even the slight favourite in many people's eyes. Like he is coming in with so much confidence that Callum is going to have to be very, very switched on from the start of training camp to the fight. But yeah, to see this is an indicator of what's to come.
And what can we expect for the undercard for this show?
We will try and bring on local fighters with Lauren Price in Cardiff, which sold really well. We had a lot of Welsh talent. We want to have some Yorkshire fighters on there, and particularly from Barnsley. Caroline Dubois, I believe, will be making her return, which is fantastic news after we couldn't get her out on June 15th. She had a slight illness. Stephen McKenna will return, this time in the super welterweight division against Joe Laws, which I'm really looking forward to. A couple more surprises as well. It's just going to be first of all, he'll sell it out on his own, but second of all, we do want to have some local fighters, make it a real celebration for the football club. That's something that they said to me, look, if we're going to do this a week before the season, we want some local lads on as well. And it will be a very, very special night. But as I say, a huge test for Callum, a huge test for Zach. Both of them get a great opportunity to headline on Sky Sports, and really looking forward to it.
Just looking back at last Saturday, also we had Chris Billam-Smith versus Richard Riakporhe, a main event that a lot of people felt a little bit let down by. Have you spoken to Riakporhe since the fight?
I have. Obviously, he's devastated. It was a difficult night for him. He didn't perform. What's that to do with him? A little bit, but was it to do with Chris Billam-Smith just having the perfect game plan and being phenomenal? I believe so as well. I think he's got a tear in his pec and around his shoulder, and so that's probably what stopped him throwing the right hand a lot of the time. But for me, he'll be devastated with his performance. It was a really wide decision, and delighted for Chris, because every time we take him into a fight, it almost seems like every single fight we take, he's coming in the underdog. People are doubting him, and he went into Sellers Bar and pulled off a great performance and shut it out and showed that he's an elite fighter. And he now, the fairy tale continues, and hopefully unification's next.
So Chris Billam-Smith, is he still under a contract with Boxer then?
Yeah, I mean, you asked me that off camera. I don't know where that's come from, but of course he's a fight that we've invested a huge amount into. We've had an unbelievable journey, and as I say, I hope it's unifications next. I believe it will be. I'd love to get back to the Vitality next year, but yeah, he needs a couple of weeks off. What he's done is phenomenal.
I'm just going to try and rattle through a few quick ones now, as I know we're pressed for time. What is next for Chris Billam-Smith? Are you going to try and target Opataya, or are you going to look for someone else?
Look, I like the way you've asked that question. He wants to unify. His dream is to fight in Vegas. I mean, he's been consistent with that with me since he first signed. One dream was ticked off, fighting in Bournemouth, fighting in the stadium. That's always been his goal. He wants to fight in the States. Probably might have thought it would never happen. Now it might happen, and that would make Zerda Ramirez the front runner. But from personal perspective, I want him to unify. I think he's going to have a choice. So whether it's Opataya, whether it's Ramirez, I think those are the two fights really that we'll be looking at.
Ben Whittaker, another solid performance on fight night. Should he be fast-tracked now with the accolades he's got and the age he's at? Is it really time to push him on?
I think it is. I have to say, I've never seen, and people might talk about this and that, Sky, I've never seen numbers like this from anyone. I mean, we had over 30 million views just on Ben Whittaker stuff over the week. So, yes, did he not get the knockout that he would have wanted? Of course. Was it a very classy performance? Yes. Was it a shutout? Yes. But of course, now we are looking at a step up. We want him to headline. We've built a huge brand with him. We want to take him back to the Midlands and really grow that part of the story as well. And yeah, I think people can expect to see him in a real fight next.
Ben Whittaker versus Dan Aziz, could that be next?
I don't think it'll be next. I think we want the Lyndon Arthur fight for Dan Aziz. That's what we've been focused on. That's what we're targeting. So hopefully that will be the next fight. But that light heavyweight division for Ben and for Dan and for Lyndon and even Craig Richards, who lost, the opportunity shouldn't run out. The domestic scene is deep in that division. Louis Edmondson as well knocking on the door. So I think there's going to be a lot of big fights, big British fights for all of the guys.
What's the latest on Joshua Buatsi versus Anthony Yarde? We know that Yarde's got a few contractual situations going on right now. If he's a free agent, will you try and sign Anthony Yarde?
We want to make Buatsi Yarde, and that's our focus, and that's our focus for Josh. Obviously, it's been difficult so far. We wanted it on the June 15th show. Whatever happened meant that we couldn't, and we're respectful of that. But obviously, I have to deliver for Josh Buatsi. Luckily for him, he's got a couple of big options now. But I think that's the fight ultimately that all the fans want to see.
And then last one, we know that Eubank Jr is a free agent. Will you try and sign him first of all? And if you are, what type of fights are you going to look at making for him?
Look, I think that's a question for him, what he wants to do next. But as a fan, I'd like to see him fight for a world title. It's a missing tick off his list. I think he impressed a lot of people against Billam-Smith the second time. I think he's always been very, very close. He's a phenomenal athlete and he's a big, big name. But I think it's one criticism, and maybe when he retires, maybe right now he doesn't see it, but I think when he retires, he'll wish he won that world title. So as a fan, I'd like to see it, but for what he does next, that's up to him.
Is there any interest in you, though, to try and sign Eubank Jr.?
I think outside of Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury is the biggest name in British boxing, so I think every promoter would love to. But we'll see. We've got a big and growing stable at the moment. We're trying to build the future stars in British boxing, and yeah, we're very happy with where we're at.
Ben, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for talking Seconds Out.